Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Minus the Rumors podcast for October 17th, 2015. I'm Ed from Zero Plays Games, joined with my co-host, Crimson Rose from Crimson Rose Games.
Uh,
Oh, what do you got tonight, Crim?
all right, so let's go ahead and jump straight into this. We've got the Guild Wars 2 is getting its own pro league, and prizes up for grab $400,000. We keep seeing these uh pro leagues for online, esports, but this is going to be a ESL Pro League. What do you think about this?
I think it's awesome, actually. ESL is where it's at when it comes to esports. I mean, ESL, the name says it all. Esports League. The fact that
Yes.
Guild Wars 2 is going pro is amazing. Before it was its own league, and you know, prizes in when you're hosting your own tournament, prizes aren't really as much of a as much of a what am I looking for here for the word? Prizes aren't as good, I
Is
guess,
enticing.
is enticing. There we go. I mean, and it's one thing to brag that, hey, I'm on the best team in a game that is in its own league, but it's another to be like, I'm esports league ranked pro. You know,
Yes.
I mean, Counter Strike used to be the same way back in the day, and now that Counter Strike is an ESL game, as well as Riot's own League of Legends, that's ESL, and Dota 2.
Yes.
I mean, those are back when they were. I mean, people played them. People have always played those games. People will always play Guild Wars 2. They always have. But the fact that it's getting bigger, it's going to ESL.
Yes.
I expect this game to shoot way up in popularity.
Yes, and with that in mind, the director has said we're seeing a massive growth in players for that are joining Guild Wars 2, and the competitive play is the fastest segment in the game. That's a quote from him. This is from Colin Johansson. But it's really cool that they've got their own pro league, which a lot of games are doing because of the money,
Right.
and because of that, the game has skyrocketed. By the way, the game just recently became free, and the next expansion, which is going to be called Heart of Thrones, will be arriving this month at October 23rd.
That's only a
So,
couple of days away.
only a little while away. So be sure to check that out.
Hmm. Also, guys, ESL, the doping scandal. You
Yes.
never thought you'd hear something about drug testing in fantasy games, fantasy sports tournaments, but Adderall and things like that, Ritalin, are becoming a major. I guess you could say that's almost a performance enhancing drug.
Yeah, there's is an issue with it. I am in support of this,
I
that they are doing this.
I am too.
Because if it's going to be sport, if it's going to categorize as sports and pro sports, drug testing, drug law rules, I should say, should be in place, and everyone should have the same fair chance. No one should have a competitive lead over someone else because they take a certain drug.
Right,
Um,
right. Because hardware in that aspect is already hardware in the pro things. When you've got this much money on the line, you need to have things equal.
yes,
And people that are on what could be legitimately called prescription speed, um,
yes,
that's kind of a bad thing. I mean, sure, if you're sponsored by Razer and you're over at ESL, there's a chance you might be playing on a Razer keyboard that you're used to playing with. But if you're sponsored by Logitech, you'll be playing on a Razer keyboard. There's
yeah,
that, there's that, there's that aspect of it. But at these tournaments, all the hardware is the exact same. People are not bringing their own mouses, their own keyboards. I mean, you might be able to bring your own headset, but I'm pretty sure they've got to test it
Yeah. So there, everything needs to be fair. Everything needs to be the same. And obviously, this doesn't count for prescription drugs that you have to have, or but things like that. But it's interesting to see that they've finally taken the stance and how far ESL has become more official. It's become more respected because of this. But
Right.
yeah, be sure to pick up Guild Wars 2.
Yeah. Also, while you're out picking up new games, growing your mustache or your beard for November, which is right around the corner. No shave November, Movember, whatever you want to call it. Pick up Run Mo Run from the Apple App Store or the Google
Yes.
Play Store. Run Mo Run is a men's health charity platformer. Not Men's Health the magazine, but for men's health in general. It is a mustache themed platform game where you run through, grab coins, avoid obstacles, and protect and upgrade your mustache.
Now, all the microtransactions that are going to happen in this game, and yes, there will be microtransactions, but it'll all be able to go to charity. So that's how they're getting the money for charity is the microtransactions game, and that will be going toward prostate cancer, other cancer, mental health, and physical activity. So this is all going to a great cause.
Right. The game is brought to you by the Movember Foundation. It's been around since 2003. So far, they've raised more than $650 million, and they've developed 1,000 programs across the world to help provide services related to the men's cancers. And I mean, it doesn't hold a. I'm not. I'm not trying to throw a gender issue in here, but it doesn't raise a $650 million does not raise a candle. It doesn't. It doesn't hold its own against breast cancer, which is a terrible disease. But I mean, come on, guys. Literally, guys, we need some help here.
Yeah, and this isn't just men's health. It does focus on cancers that us guys do get, but it does also focus a little bit on mental health and physical activity. So it does branch out into the other stuff, but it does focus on you
Right.
know
Right. I mean,
bearded people.
men's mental health is, especially with the recent things that have been happening in our society. Mental health definitely
Yeah,
comes into play. Physical activity is a big one. I mean, honestly, people just aren't as active as they used to be. Jobs are more. Jobs tend to be a little more relaxed. The work week is down to 40 hours,
yeah.
average, which is good. I mean, back when people were healthy but didn't live as long, what was it, 60, 70-hour work weeks?
Yeah, yeah. Well, people worked 6 days a week.
Yeah, and highly, highly active
Yeah,
positions. And honestly, that's what we're built for. It's what we evolved into is these active creatures, and we're for the most part very sedentary anymore.
so I do highly recommend this game. I love anything that has facial hair because manly and awesome. But yeah, be sure to pick up the game, check it out. Spend a little money on it, do a few microtransactions that go into a good charity,
Hmm.
and yeah.
Yeah. Also, seeing as how Run Mo Run is out on iOS devices, let's talk about Apple.
Oh God, what have they done now?
Oh, it's always something Apple. Apple was recently found guilty of using processor technology
Oh God,
that is patented
oh
by the
God,
University of Wisconsin,
oh God.
and they might be facing up to
Oh,
$862.4 million dollars in damages.
pocket change.
It is pocket change. Uh, the technology is patented and it is designed to improve chip efficiency, processor efficiency. and apparently Apple used it in their AX9, AX9X processors, as well as the iPad Pros and the iPhone 5S, 6, 6S Plus, and probably they'll probably have to find something new for the new iPhone, whatever it's going to be when it releases. But
Unless what will most likely happen is, which they have yet to go to court about this, and they'll probably settle this outside of court. This is how most things happen.
mm-hmm.
They'll do some side deals. You scratch my back, we'll scratch yours. So in a way, Apple will probably get the rights to use this, but Wisconsin will, one, get money, and two, they'll probably get some funding in ways.
Right. And now, I should probably bring it up. Wisconsin's already got money for a similar case. Back in 2008, the University of Wisconsin sued Intel for violations of this exact same patent. But that was settled out of court for an undisclosed amount.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, can you really put a patent on processor architecture technology? I mean, or threading technology?
If it's unique enough, I think so.
I mean, what is the University of Wisconsin using this technology on that they needed to I mean, I can understand patenting it. They're protecting their work. But what are they exclusively using it on that makes it
See,
exclusive just to them? They're not
I'm
building
not.
phones. They're not making computers. They're not.
Well, the thing is, I don't know exclusively what the University of Wisconsin focuses on, but most universities are actually your innovative people that come up with, like Caltech, USC, all these MIT, all these universities and whatnot, and that come up with these things that a bunch of basically college kids come up with these groundbreaking discoveries, and they end up either repurposing them back into their program or they end up selling them for, money for the program. So I don't know what their goal was for it, but it's
Right. I mean, it's been around there for a while now. 2008 was
yeah.
the first suit, so they're obviously holding on to this technology. I, I mean, are they expecting people to come to them with an offer to purchase rights?
Yeah.
But even if Apple gets a full $862.4 million against them, I don't see where that's going to hurt them in any way, shape, or form. Do you?
No,
It's not
not
even.
at all.
It's not even going to touch their budget. I mean, what do they make when a new iPhone releases or when a new iPad releases, and you've got people pre-ordering, and then you've got people waiting for days outside of stores for them to show up.
Yeah.
Billions, billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, in which, I want, there's a bunch of people commenting about this story about how, since the University of Wisconsin is a government thing, that they should not have the right
Mm-hmm.
this patent, it, where the flip side of it is they don't get all their funding from the government. They have to raise money on their own. They have to get grants on their own, and this is where research and development from universities, how they get a lot of their money is they have to get grants. So this is kind of what that is. Don't think they shouldn't have the right to
Right.
have this technology and hold on to it and not put it out to the public, because they have to grow their program. They have to fund it themselves a lot of the time, or at least a portion of it. So
Mm-hmm.
what's interesting though is when Intel got this back in 2008, has no one come up with anything newer, better since 2008?
Right. I'm seeing it is. It must be cutting edge. I mean, you can only do so much with the room that's required
Yeah.
for a microprocessor of micro size, uh, especially for the power these things are packing.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing a lot of comments too from people saying this is patent trolling. Uh, I don't necessarily think it would be patent trolling, but I mean, obviously somebody is watching out over at University of Wisconsin to go, hey, this technology's in this.
Yeah, maybe, but
I don't know.
we'll
It
never
doesn't.
know. But
It's not like they're baiting it,
nah,
but
it'll
well,
be interesting what happens. All this will obviously happen, behind closed doors,
oh
but
yeah, it'll settle out of court, guaranteed.
guaranteed.
But
Pocket change.
if it doesn't, we'll follow up on it.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, on to the Wii U.
The Wii U,
Most
yes.
beloved and hated
Well,
console.
well, the almost Wii U. How about we call it that?
Almost Wii U. So, there is a emulator for the Wii U that you can now use for the Wii U, play the Wii U games on your computer. The only problem is zero.
The only problem is it's terrible, in my
Yeah.
opinion. There is no audio. There is no gameplay or no gamepad support. So you're using your keyboard. There's terrible frame rates, and loading times are excruciatingly long.
Yeah.
It is completely unoptimized and extremely raw. But it'll almost play Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart 8. Almost. And it'll probably play Wind Waker.
Probably, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, what we were discussing is why is emulating so popular with the Nintendo, why people do it and whatnot. And I think one of the big reasons is Nintendo typically does not want you recording their gameplay.
Well, is it that, or I thought Nintendo doesn't mind you recording their gameplay, but you can't monetize.
Well, if you're going to record it, you're probably going to monetize it.
It's a good point. I mean, nobody does anything for free anymore, really.
Exactly. But that's one thing. But Microsoft and PlayStation makes it easy. They've got easy to do capture cards. They make it very simple for you to record your gameplay. And the only way, well, not the only way, but the easiest way to do this is get an emulator and play the game on the PC. Now,
Absolutely.
Yes, and one of the things that kind of makes this hard is a lot of this is written. It's a different culture. It's a different language. It's the Japanese language, and you're trying to transcribe that to the computer, and that can lead to some issues. And it's different hardware. It's not what we're used to over here in the U.S.
Right. Here's a question. It literally just popped into my head. Otherwise, I would have asked this before during our pre-recording discussion. Why do you think it is that people do? They have for a long time emulated the Xbox 360, the Game Boys. They've emulated the PlayStation 3. They're now emulating the Wii U. They've emulated the Wii. They've emulated the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo. On the Nintendo side of things, Nintendo does seem to have the most emulators.
Yeah.
Why doesn't Nintendo give the people what they want and release their own official licensed PC emulator? I'm betting that people would pay upwards of $60 to download it.
I'm not sure, and I'm not sure if there is such a thing, but the one of the things that popped in my mind, the main reason there aren't so many Nintendo emulators is no PC games.
Yeah. No PC. Yeah.
No PC games. You can go, besides like some old school ones, you can go and get a lot of the Xbox games, and there's going to be a PC version. Go get your PlayStation games. Guess what? There's going to be a PlayStation. There's going to be a PC version. Nintendo. Right. Guess what? Go get the console.
Do you think Nintendo will ever bend over and be like, well, if people are hacking it, and basically that's what it is, they're rewriting things to make this work on PC. Do you think Nintendo will even consider making their own emulator, an official licensed one?
Three things. One, it's a different culture, and it's going to be complete. It's a different culture than the American or European, so I can't really know that for sure. However, they've got a new president, so possibly he may decide, let's take it a different direction. However, third and biggest point is the one I just forgot. Lovely.
Oops.
Whoops.
It happens. But I mean, do you think they might be holding off on it because it would drive, or they would be fearful that it would drive the actual console sales down?
Probably. I would think so. Because a lot of people buy the Nintendo stuff, unless you're me and you love all the titles, because they want to play just some of the Pokemon stuff, or they just want to play the Zelda stuff, or they just want to play the Mario stuff. And instead of going and buying a very expensive console, why don't you just have the game and play it on your PC?
Right.
So it's a possibility.
They could charge for a PC emulator version of it.
They
They
could.
could charge for the actual emulator, and they could charge probably gloriously as long as it, runs like the actual console.
Now, the point that I was going to make earlier that I forgot about is I think Nintendo's starting to edge their way into the PC market and the mobile market due to, I think Pokemon Go is kind of testing the waters. Because if Nintendo does not decide, hey, we're going to do PC stuff and we're going to do mobile stuff, they're going to fall behind. There's nothing they can do to keep up with everyone else. They've got
Right.
to change with the times. And I think, this new project with Pokemon Go, I think that's testing the waters. And then if it goes well, which it will, I think we could see a lot more new things like official emulators, official capture cards. Maybe that'll be a new thing with the Nintendo Next, is that it'll have official capture cards or something.
That would be cool if you could, I mean, even as an expansion, if you could purchase this thing separately from your console, but it would allow you to capture your gameplay, capture the game audio, and then
Yes.
write it so that you could either see it on your computer screen or on your TV and have an exportable video even without monetization. You'll blow viewership through the roof. You'll get
Now,
you'll get your name out there. You'll
yeah.
get yeah.
A lot of the capture cards that they have are going to be. I'm looking at it right now. There's third parties, and then the Elgato will work for it.
Hmm.
And then you have your PC downloadable um, uh, emulators or emulators.
Right. But that's the thing. There's never a official released. It's all third party. Do you think maybe a smart move could be? I mean,
It would be a smart move. It's just
it,
I don't know what's holding them back.
it's probably, I don't know, maybe research and development or just absolute sheer cost and tooling. Who knows? But obviously, there's a market for it. I mean,
Yes.
the people demand it. They and they'll get it from somewhere. And honestly, I personally wouldn't. I wouldn't download a Wii U emulator if it's got terrible frame rate, no audio, no
Yeah.
support.
Yeah.
Would you?
No, well, granted that disregard the Wii U, the other emulators for the older stuff is actually pretty good.
It really is.
But the Wii U is the newest hardware, though.
Right. Yeah, you got a point there. Back in the day, the games were a little bit simpler, probably
Yeah.
to emulate, and controls, two keyboard buttons and arrow keys. I mean, it's
What's funny, what's interesting is this emulator finally has come out for the Wii U right as the Wii U is ending its cycle.
mm-hmm.
New console is ready to get aired. They're winding down games. They've still got a few hits to come out, but it's kind of on its back end.
It is. It is.
It's taken a long time to develop this.
Maybe Nintendo's just got things locked up that tight. I would just, I hope Nintendo, without sounding or without attempting to sound rude, would get with the times. I'd hate to see them go the way of Atari did, the way of the
No.
Atari and stuff like that. And if honestly, technology changes rapidly, and if you don't keep up with it and stay in the mainstream,
I think they'll surprise you. They've always proven to be the innovators, so
they really have, and they are very innovative. But you know, I like to think of tech as a major river, and then you've got streams and tributaries and branches off of it. And honestly, I see Nintendo at times in my own head jumping off of the main flow
Yeah.
and taking a side stream that later reconnects.
Yeah, it's often, but still, the fact be it remains, name the gaming tech giants of the world: Microsoft, PlayStation, Nintendo. Those are the three. Those
Right.
have been the three for a very long time, and it's not going to change. I think the last poll I saw was if Nintendo didn't make any money, they wouldn't go bankrupt for the next like 15 years. They've got more money than I think they've got more money than Xbox or Microsoft and PlayStation, just because they started.
They've been around longer.
They've been around much longer. So, all right then.
Yeah.
So next, Thor. Thor Ragnarok is apparently going to be a very, very, very dark movie. So dark that they had to bring in a comedian director to help liven things up.
Really.
Do not spoil too much of the movie that's coming up because I know you know how it goes in the comics. Um, everyone dies.
You're talking everyone dies.
Everyone dies. Now, obviously, Marvel will not do that. They'll bring it around.
Oh,
But
you know it. You can't have everybody die.
yeah. So if it was to follow the comic book, everyone would die, no exceptions, basically. However, they're going to liven things up. They're going to make it more friendly. You're probably not going to lose your favorite characters. You probably will. Don't get your hopes up. And also, apparently, the Hulk is supposed to play a part in it, and not sure how yet. But it's been mentioned that he'll play a part. Very interesting. What are your thoughts on this movie being so dark they needed to bring in a comedian director?
Um, I'm waiting to hear what rating it's going to have.
It'll probably have PG-13.
Probably. Uh, but, I mean, you can only get so dark with PG-13.
Well,
But,
you can get dark without being gory. That's the thing.
right.
You can have people killed off, but not in a like gory sense.
Right, or too violent for
Yeah.
screen sense. Yeah. But them bringing in a comedian, I think it's necessary,
Yeah.
especially if they're I would hate to say it, but hopefully they're not going to go on a dark comedy type
Oh god.
timeline. Yeah. Uh, I think that would be terrible for the movie personally, but it's not out yet. I haven't seen it.
Which, by the way, the movie does release November 3rd, 2017. It's quite a ways away.
It is. So there's a lot of wiggle room.
Yeah.
But looking at their new director's other works, like What We Do in the Shadows, which was very low budget, and Eagle vs. Shark, which sounds very low budget. Uh, hopefully he's up to the challenge
Yeah.
of doing something as big as a Marvel Universe movie.
And as far as I understand, he's going to be working with the actual director.
All right.
It's going to be like a dual director kind of thing.
Well, that's good. Maybe they can play off each other really well. Hopefully he's the type of guy that, you know, when things get heavy, he can make his own joke
Yeah.
and
The,
and keep morale up, and hopefully he's got the ability to, you know,
the
not make people hold on to their feels for too long without bringing them back up.
Yeah, the problem with the storyline is it's supposed to be dark, and there is no happy ending to this story.
Right.
That's the problem. If they're going off source material, it's dark. Everyone dies, and that's that. But because it's Marvel, and because you know they don't want it to be too dark, you know, They want to be lighter. They don't want you to, forever lose your favorite characters.
Right.
So having Loki, the actor that plays Loki, it'll be funny.
Right. What about Mark Ruffalo?
Yes.
I mean, the Hulk's gonna be there. He wasn't.
He's
He wasn't supposed to be there, but
I'm not sure how he's gonna fit in.
yeah. JoeBlow.com is saying he will be prominent in this movie.
Well, I guess we will have to see.
I guess so.
So, on to some more Nintendo news. Actually, not Nintendo news, but a little slightly.
Yeah.
The Zelda musical orchestra, the Zelda Symphonic Orchestra, actually called Symphony of the Goddesses, let me get that correct, played on the Colbert Report, or Colbert Show,
The Late Show.
and the Late Show, whatever you
Whatever.
want to call it.
Yeah.
He was on there. They were on there with Colbert. And this is the third time this month that they've had gaming related people on there. The orchestra, PewDiePie was on there, and No Man's Sky developer Sean Murray. All these people have made appearances on the Colbert Show. All this is right after the debacle with Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel obviously made some very bad um, comments about the gaming community, YouTube watcher, YouTube viewers, YouTube content creators twice. And then he had Markiplier and Miss May on to kind of explain to him what was wrong. All this to say is when Kimmel did all this, huge views on his chant or his show. I mean, the popularity, though it may not have been good, skyrocketed. And I
Right.
think Colbert saw this as like capitalize on this. What are your thoughts?
I think so. And I would like to think that Stephen Colbert actually plays video games in his own time. I mean,
He looks like a guy that would.
he really does. I mean, I can't figure what kind of game he would play. I'm going to imagine just from his personality, it's not a first person shooter.
Uh,
But I could see him being of high intelligence that he is playing a lot of RTS games
yeah,
or something along those lines, or uh, what would they be? Walking simulators, the walking
yeah.
puzzle games. And I think, I think he might just be a gamer, but he definitely either that or he just saw, hey, these comments on Mr. Kimmel's YouTube videos and the feedback on his show and the fact that he's receiving hate mail and death threats. There's a huge gamer community out there. Maybe
Yeah.
I should show them some love.
Which, Kimmel did turn it around. He did, show a little bit of love and respect, I guess you could call it that.
Hmm.
But I think Colbert is definitely capitalizing on it.
Right. I mean, Conan has his clueless gamer stuff, which is hilarious. I mean, and he's been capitalizing on it.
Yeah.
Maybe Colbert just realized it's time to realize that these are real people. Maybe he is very financially not motivated but intelligent,
Yeah.
and he might have seen the Forbes articles and stuff about esports that have been out recently.
And notice he got a developer, very smart. He got the most popular YouTuber there is, PewDiePie, and then he got a world-renowned orchestra. Three very, very different gaming communities, YouTube developers, and kind of a higher end class of gaming where
Hmm.
people wear suit and ties to this stuff.
Hmm.
Three very different types, back to
Maybe
back.
maybe he's what I would like to refer to as the closet gamers. I don't mean that in any kind of derogatory sense, but like the gamers are everywhere. Game enthusiasts, they're everywhere. And they do. It's kind of like that scene in Fight Club,
Yeah.
where Brad Pitt's standing over him. We wash your cars, we take out your trash, stuff like that. Uh, Gamers are everywhere. And
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's people that are CEOs of major corporations, not gaming corporations, but major corporations or people in high positions of power that after their long, stressful day at work, they can't wait to come home and watch a YouTube Let's Play. Or they can't wait to come home and take the wrapper off of a brand new disc for a game they just bought.
Well,
Or,
they have stressful days and they need to go home and unwind. This actually is what the Japanese are famous for, is being very, very, very strict business people of high honor.
and then
But when they get home,
they get turned up.
well, it's video games, it's anime, it's have you seen their commercials? My God, they've got to relax somehow.
Right, exactly. But yeah,
So,
I mean, I've been to a couple of karaoke bars.
oh God,
After there's a lot of Asian owned and Asian run companies in my state, and I've been to a couple of karaoke bars, and I'll tell you, people come in straight walking. You get them sat down, they realize they're out of work, and dude, it's a madhouse, and it's
yeah.
absolutely glorious.
Well, people got to find a way to relax somehow.
Yeah, everybody needs to unwind, but I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. Colbert himself, even though he is in the spotlight so much, I wouldn't be surprised if he is a gamer in some way,
Probably.
shape, or form. Either that or he is a huge game fanatic.
Most likely. And all this, just to clarify, did happen on the Late Show. That's the actual show it happened on,
Hmm.
which he hosts. So,
So the choir, what was it? What do they call it? Symphony of the Goddesses.
yes.
I almost said Choir of the Goddesses, and that just didn't sound right to my head. They were performing new music, correct?
Yes, they're playing old music, but new music from the Zelda Triforce Heroes. That's going to be a new 3DS game that's actually dropping this month, October 23rd.
Nice.
So that was just recently announced that that's coming. So be sure to pick up that game as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Hmm. What else have we got? Hmm. 3DS
A
release date.
little bit more about this game I just mentioned. The Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes is going to be released on the 3DS. It is going to be a reading it right now. Released October 23rd. It was announced at the E3 2015 in June. It's going to be focused on co-op puzzle solving and monster battling. Emphasis on crafting different outfits and different stats.
Has there ever been a multiplayer Zelda game?
3DS, I believe, you were able to, I think something like Link of Heroes, you were able to have up to 4 people. I'm not quite
Okay.
sure. Um,
Okay, because that's the thing. I don't have the portable devices. So I haven't played the games, and like I said earlier, I won't download a bad emulator.
yeah.
But that's that seems intriguing. Co-op.
Yes. Four Swords was a game where several players could link together their Game Boy Advances and play as 4 different links.
As four
Um,
different links.
yeah, a part of the game, even if you played single player, you had 4 different links. It
Okay.
was called the Four Swords. Apparently, Wind Waker, Four Swords Adventure, which is a different one, Phantom Hourglass, and Spirit Tracks also had multiplayer features
I
where
need
you
to
could like
get
battle friends or do other things like that.
I need to get a 3DS. That's all there is to it.
The Wind Waker was apparently you connected the Game Boy Advance to the GameCube, and the other ones look about the same. Either Game Boy Advance, DS stuff. Yeah,
Hmm.
so not a, like a true multiplayer, but
Co-op.
co-op.
Oh, let's see here. You probably thought we would have some Star Wars stuff tonight, didn't you,
Nope.
Scion? I know you're watching still, Scion. No? Battlefront. The beta, huge. It
Yes.
was huge. Did you watch any of it? Did you play it?
Myself, I did not. I'm trying to stay away from it so I can be happily surprised.
I know we covered the hardware requirements for the actual game
Yes.
last week. I tried to watch. I did not download it because I don't even have the minimum suggested hardware requirements to be able to like play and record. I barely have the minimum hardware requirements to play. I saw some of it. I saw people playing it on Twitch,
Yes.
and from what I saw, it looked amazing. It looked fantastic.
It
Uh,
looks like since the beta just ended, it looks like it's going to be very unbalanced at the moment.
yes, that's. I heard people actually complaining about that on their live streams. I was having difficulty watching their streams because of the high rate of motion. It was almost
Yeah.
like people's GPUs were kind of frizzling out. Uh, Things would get really, really blurry,
Yeah.
and I can't even when it
Yeah.
comes to that in a
Well,
stream.
that's the point of having a beta is okay, this boss is way too hard. We'll fix it. Is it really is it hard with streaming? Is it really framey? We'll fix it. That's the whole point of a beta is it's not going to be perfect. So,
Right. It was very unbalanced, but it was also EA's biggest ever open beta.
true. This
Nine
is
million people to get
yeah.
feedback from. Can you imagine?
Well, this is because everyone hates EA and we just, we'll put up with them because we love this game.
Right. EA, the great money grabber. Um, who's the other one? Ubisoft.
Oh god, that's not no. Don't talk about them.
But I think it was amazing that they did have so many people join into this beta and that the feedback is tremendous. I think the game is going to come out very well balanced. If EA can do things about it that people are complaining about, such as balance issues, um, I'd like to see them cut back on the graphics intensity just a tad. Either
Yeah.
that or find a way to optimize it, maybe run it on a different engine.
Yeah.
But yeah, because even even on the Xbox One, the beta would only run at 720p because of graphics intensity.
Yeah.
And on the PlayStation 4, which is a little bit stronger on the graphics end, it would only run at 900p. You couldn't get full 1080 out of it. It's too heavy,
Yeah.
in my opinion, and some other people's.
We'll see what happens when it actually gets released, full version.
You know, I might actually play it when a full version releases.
Is it what's it going to be on the
It'll be on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC.
I'll have to buy it for the PC after I get a new PC, so.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this draws us to the end of the stream.
It really does. That's
Sad
sad.
to say. But no.
No?
If you enjoyed the stream, be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe on the YouTubes, on the Twitch. Be sure to follow. Be sure to check out all our other stuff on Twitter. Be sure to follow us on Votable and all those lovely things. We appreciate every single one of our viewers and our
Yes.
moderators. We love you guys so very much. And if you're interested in joining our little family here on Minus the Rumors as being a host, then be sure to shoot us an email at minustherumors@gmail.com. Be sure you're 18 and older and have a good mic and webcam. But this is goodbye.
Bye, guys. See you next week. Bring your friends.
See ya.